and realized how good Chris truly was to her.
What's your girlfriend's name? Does she live in Iceland? Have you slept with her?
Loved her, but we've split up. Hearing that Chris is single, Mike quickly moved closer and once again asked the question.
Why do you want to work here?
Because you're here. Chris finally revealed what was buried in his heart that moment they met in the diner. Chris immediately fell for Mike, so he learned to rush and do the dirty work. Mike finally understood Chris' feelings. There had always been someone secretly loving her, though they missed some time, but they eventually fell in love. The moon is cold, I felt it. I didn't feel it. From then on, each week, Chris would pick her up after school. Then they would get to know each other in the apartment. They had almost no secrets left. And Mike mentioned that the boss thought highly of Chris. He had undoubtedly passed the father's test, yet Chris remained puzzled in his heart. Why can't a father know about us? I still can't understand. Mike remained silent. However, Mike did not ignore this, so a week later, after deep thought, she secretly brought Chris back to her home. They saw walls plastered with photos. One photo caught Chris' attention. The woman in the black and white photo was Mike's mother. She is also the key to unlocking Chris' doubts. Mike dreads recalling the past. 25 years back, her pregnant mother survived the atomic bomb blast. As a housewife, she never thought she would be caught in war. Fortunately, her mother gave birth to Maya a month early. Then she chose peace as a belief. She promoted it through her art. She fully committed to resisting Japanese militarism. But a year later, she passed away, leaving behind a misfortune. I am a Haibakusa. It was the first time Chris heard this new term. He did plan to probe more. He still wanted to know. Xiao Tom, can I ask you something? What does Haibakusa mean? Hearing the word, Xiao Tom frowned. Can't you tell me what it means?
It means atomic bomb survivor.
She clearly survived the atomic bomb explosion, but why does Mike consider it a misfortune? Chris felt even more puzzled. In the following weeks, even though the two were inseparable, Mike never mentioned atomic bomb survivors again. Mike, I love you.
Chris, I love you too.
Maybe Mike has a hard truth to hide. Chris chose not to pursue the secret further, just wishing to cherish every moment together. The boss made a brief introduction. Then they went to the small study. They talked for quite a while. Then the boss gave all the employees an extended 8-day break for the first time. He said he wanted to travel somewhere else. He hadn't traveled in 25 years. Before leaving, he checked the doors and windows. All right. For the first time, as the boss was about to leave, he glanced back at Chris, who was closing up. As the boss departed, Chris began to close the door. Just as he was about to turn back, Mike unexpectedly appeared at the door on Wednesday. Before Chris could react, she dove into Chris' arms. Then she presented him with a valuable gift. It was a teacup made by her mother. What's wrong, Mike? Do you have something to say? Mike said nothing. She just hugged Chris, kissing him. Then she shed tears. She walked over to the door. Mike? Hearing Chris' call, Mike turned back. She kissed him again, then left Chris in silence. Chris stood there stunned, his mind filled with countless doubts. He won't look into it anymore. He quietly awaited the weekend. He got an unexpected letter. It contained this month's salary. Chris began to feel uneasy. He anxiously went to the restaurant, but it had already closed. The owner closed the shop? When? Where is Mike? Left? Left for where? Takahashi didn't say. Chris felt restless. He hurried to Mai's house. But strangers now occupied the house. At that moment, he understood Mai's strange behavior that night. But he didn't understand why she left suddenly without telling him. And why couldn't they be together openly? These questions lingered as time passed, accompanying him for over 50 years. Aging Chris now had unruly gray hair and wrinkles on his face from the years. Now he practices memory recovery exercises daily. Gave his staff a long break because he is seeking answers left for 51 years, ignoring the dangers of the pandemic and ignoring his daughter's worries. I want to find a friend who's been missing for years.
Dad, you're rambling again.
Who is missing? Chris deliberately bought some cherry blossom chocolate on the plane. He kept up with his daily memory exercises, yet he had forgotten the doctor's advice. Your memory exercises are not helping anymore. Unknowingly, Chris had arrived in London. He arrived weary, staying at a hotel that would close in 2 days due to the pandemic. Then he ordered dinner, but as his memory keeps fading, there were times he forgot to bring food from the fort to his mouth. He relied on fine-tuned memories each day. The next day, he fumbled his way to that street corner. The outline of the window still felt familiar, but now it's a tattoo shop running here. As he entered the shop, he found the place looked completely different. He realized that the Takahashi restaurant no longer existed, but when he spotted the courage character on the wall, he vaguely remembered all the chances he missed to pursue Mai. But now he wanted to carry that character to find Mai, but he was perplexed by the restaurant's disappearance. He helplessly asked the hotel receptionist for help in finding an address. An address from 50 years ago? Actually, it's from 51 years ago. Let me explain once more. Last time was 20 years ago. She moved recently. Faced with the confused old man, the front desk was quite irritated. You searched 20 years ago and found nothing. Chris returned to his room, feeling dejected. He seemed bound to head back to Iceland tomorrow empty-handed, but going back alone like this would surely be dangerous. He couldn't even remember which button turned on the bedside lamp. However, the next morning... Hello. Did you find her?
I'm glad to hear this news. Thank you so much.
Chris hurried downstairs, overjoyed. Election registration records. That's where I found her. I have a friend at the British Library. Thank you so much. Chris felt a surge of joy inside. It warmed him like sunshine on his face. New clues led him to the nursing home. As he stood at the door with the guard, he immediately recognized someone in the crowd, but it wasn't Mai. It was his old colleague, Xiao Tong. They exchanged a few simple greetings. Xiao Tong got an album to recall the past. They had contacted each other once since boss Takahashi closed and Mai moved away. That was in 2004, the year her boss passed away.
Where's Mai?
I don't know.
But I think I still have the letter.
Xiao Tong brought an old box. Inside, she found the letter. Fortunately, the letter had a return address. This renewed Chris' hope of leaving no regrets. He flew to Japan right away, yet those strong memories seemed to fade. Rockfish is here. Gradually, Chris fell asleep. When he woke up, he checked into the hotel's woodly in Japanese. The bright full moon at night woke memories of sweet times with Mai. The moon is cold, I can feel it. Nowadays, Chris feels that cold too, that distant and lonely chill. To fight off the moon's chill, he went to a restaurant and ordered a drink. He unexpectedly met a warm-hearted old man of his age. The old man talked about his own experiences in England, but Chris' daughter was still sending worried messages. You've missed your daughter's birthday. Yes, and worse. I also forgot to tell her I went to Japan.